was it tonight? It was definitely a battle. Just talk about the fight your team has.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is right now driven by energy, and we made a lot of undisciplined errors in the first half, and this is again where I really want to give credit to the boys, because we had a great week in the film room and on court, understanding that when that momentum and the energy went against us last week, we sort of the bottom fell out. And so when we felt it, we made some errors and we addressed it at different times of timeout. They were able to bring it back in their favour, and it was off the back of some great shooting, but some real good team defence. And that's what's important, right? Is if the shot's falling, great. If it isn't, you've got to win on the defensive end. And I thought for the majority of the game, we did good. Adelaide made some tough plays, made some tough shots, but were able to weather the storm. So it was good that the boys are sort of enjoying that experience compared to last week.
I heard you during one huddle just telling your team just to be patient offensively. You had a few players in double digits. What was working, what wasn't working on the offensive end?
Well, the big difference, I think, and again, credit to Rob, because, we've really coached him up since Taran went down in the blitz to play a role that he's not used to. He's a scoring combo guard that likes to get on the wing. And so, we've sort of thrown him into a different position to provide that balance. But also, I think the biggest contributor is sitting right next to me, in a sense that it allowed that stability. And then there's trust from Rob to know that the ball's going to come to him. It's not terminal. It's not going to just sit on one side of the court. And so when it got swung and it came back to Kyle, and we get into a little split game, it comes back to Rob again. And so, building that rapport and that trust and relationship really got fast-tracked in that game. And so it was good to see that, Rob's starting to, trust and believe in his teammates and the philosophy that we're trying to put in.
And I was saying it over and over again, just how great the energy was in the convention center tonight. Can both of you guys just talk about how big the fans were?
Go for it.
Yeah, it was good. As I said, I've been on the opposing side of it before, and it's always a tough place to play. So to be here tonight and feel that energy, I definitely got hyped up a few times tonight. A couple of plays happened and the juices were flowing, and I was just really excited. So to have that as our sixth man every week is amazing. So credit to you guys in Cairns. You guys showed up, AFL Grand Final on today, and it felt like a Grand Final for us at times. So it was amazing.
Kyle, how did it feel playing first game in Orange?
Yeah, it was good. It was amazing. I mean, for me, obviously coming off the knee injury as well, so I think the psychological aspect of an injury is always hard. So subbing in the game the first quarter, you got the nervous energy and you're like, oh, how am I going to go? How's my knee going to go? And I think, as soon as you catch the ball and you swing it and you get in a huddle, I think, basketball takes over. Done it for a while. So it was really good to be back on the floor. Can't wipe the smile off my face. It was just such a good experience out there again. So pumped.
Forde, big difference from last week in three-point shooting, 29% last week and you're 52. Was that a big talking point during the week?
Yeah, and from a positive component, in the sense that a lot of the good shots that missed were good looks. And so, the guys put a lot of hours in. And again, I think about, just because I've seen it firsthand with Wardenberg and Jonah, they didn't go anywhere in the off-season. They didn't play NBL1, they didn't play overseas. They just stayed in Cairns and they just worked on their craft every day. You build confidence from putting in that work. They spent some time on court with me, the majority of the time with my assistants, who are amazing in the sense of, making themselves available and the work that they do with the players. And, you have, one or two bad games and, but back yourself with all the work you put in, and that's where you build the confidence from. So, it was a great shooting night tonight. I don't think we didn't force any bad shots. There were some shots that were forced last week and we addressed those, and we talked about, don't misinterpret a missed shot as a bad possession. So I felt like for the most part, the guys really embraced that and back, again, I can walk out of here and go 10 or 50 if they're all 50 good looks. Tonight we shot 29. In my mind, philosophies, we should have probably shot more. Like, we should have shot more shots. So hopefully we just keep that going.
And a pretty good run to start that fourth quarter. You got 17-2 run, you're up by 15, and they sort of claw their way back. How do you sort of stop that momentum, looking at next week for your Friday night game?
Yeah, the review will be the process, not the result. And so we'll break it down and we'll show the guys the areas of where we need to work on and improve. It's important, right, that sometimes, we can walk out of a film session and the guys can feel like I'm probably being more brutal than, they say we won, but we're trying to build for what we look like in December, January. So there's areas that we'll address and fix. We can always do that in the film room, and sometimes we try and replay stuff at practice or run it back. But this is the cool thing about this group, right? Is this was the first time this group had Kyle as their point guard, and so there's a learning element to that. KG against his old team, so game 2, what's it going to look like after 18 more games, and that's what we're building towards.
I was going to say that, how was he feeling coming to his first game against his old club?
Yeah, and I wanted to get him in sooner in the first half, and this is how great KG is I had him coming in for Wardenberg at one point, and then Wardenberg just came out, just like hit back-to-back shots. And KG's like, he's rolling. And I said, yeah, I'm not trying to mess with you. And he sat back down. And so naturally, anybody else, right, would feel like I've only played 6 minutes in the first half against my old club. I want to get out there and hoop. And he's the ultimate teammate. I also want to mention, like, Tanner came in hurt. And he's an absolute warrior. And, he got himself into a bit of foul trouble. But, he was playing in a really physically exhausting, draining spot. And that goes to show how much of an absolute warrior he was, and it was cool that KG and AK were able to step up, knowing that Tanner wasn't 100%. So we'll give him this week to rest and repair his body and get him as close as we can to 100% for next week.
And Rob, how's he feeling after that knock?
I don't know, he's still out there doing handshakes and kissing babies. I haven't seen him since the end of the game, so I think he might still be out there. Security will kick him out at some point.
We have a look at the call. It was a wind-up and a follow-through. It was the reason why he was fouled on that.
Sorry again?
It was a wind-up and a follow-through. We have a look at that at all.
I'm not answering that. And the big thing for us group, and this is what's great, is we're really embraced, and I'm probably more guilty of it than anybody. And so trying to adopt this philosophy of like, you can only play in the moment and play this possession, and sometimes we think about that missed shot that happened 2 possessions ago, or we're trying to think about a play down the track or playing to protect the lead or whatever it may be. You just got to play in the moment, play the possession. Sometimes you get dealt a crap hand, and you've got to manage it. And so again, it's the ability of Kyle to be there on the group, as a veteran guy, to help me out with that, because I can only call so many timeouts to bring the group back in. And so that's just an example of that, where the guys have just got to galvanise, move on, and get another defensive stop, which I felt like they did a fantastic job of.
Right, we'll jump to Chris on Zoom.
Yeah, Kyle, just interested to get your insights on KG's game, because you know what it's like to play against a former team. How much do you
All of
think
them.
you would have,
About.
how much do you think you would have been pumped up for this game, and then to start that fourth quarter like you did with, I think 10 quick points, what do you think that would have meant to him?
Oh, it would have meant a lot to him. For me, in the game, multiple huddles. I'm most proud of KG. Not because he had 12 points and shot the ball well, which we all know he does, but he rotated a lot, blocked shots, and every single huddle when we were calling sets, he was locked in. He was like, all right, I'm going here, I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's such a subtle thing, but that shows to me how important it was to him that game. Obviously playing his old team. But for him to be locked in like that and on top of plays and saying, yeah, okay, I'm going to go here, you're going to do this, that was really cool. And just that never too high, never too low. It's always, difficult at times playing against your old team. Some guys have points to prove, some have different things. But for me, the way he kept it even steel through the whole game, and Forde mentioned with that 6 minutes in the first half, to me, that's impressive. That's the impression of his growth as a guy who's played some games in this league.
High-level thinker, and again, because I just want to jump on the back of that, this is a guy that brings a notebook to our video sessions, because we've really changed what he's used to in terms of the defense philosophy side of things, what to commit to, what not to commit to, the pick and roll coverage. And the most impressive thing about KG is we really changed the way he's used to playing basketball in some real particular areas that work and fit us. And so his transference from day one, and again, this is a guy that always came back from surgery, and so he was sort of late to it, where everybody else was starting week 1, week 2. He was still his return to play timeline. But his transference every day in the sense of what the demand is and what we want to execute on, he's been incredible. And so, just a credit to his high-level thinking and the process that he goes through to make such a huge impact on the game that sometimes doesn't reflect on the stat sheet. But, he did. He got 2 blocks, hit a bunch of threes, got rebounds for us. I just want to keep building on that.
And Kyle, we know that you can be a scoring guard, but on this team, when you've got shooters like Rob, like Sam, like Jonah, you can set up and you know, find good looks for. Is that a role you're looking forward to embracing as this season rolls on?
I didn't hear the last part, but yeah, I'm definitely embracing that role. I think, you know, being able to have multiple attacks on different sides of the floor is important. You know, you're going to have your moments against different coverages where you have to be aggressive and you need to look to get yours. But at the same time, you know, as you mentioned, with guys like Sam, experienced, patient bigs, you know, you can flick him the ball and he's almost a guard in many ways on that reversal. So obviously freeing up a guy like Rob too to do what he does best makes my job easy. Move the ball and you know, attack different advantages that we want. So yeah, definitely embracing that role, trying to bring guys with me and put confidence in all those guys too, because we got some seriously talented players on this team.
Well, can I get your thoughts on Sam's game? It's the first time he's had a 20-10 game in the NBL. He really stepped up and did a lot of good things, not just offensively, but he held his ground physically, defensively. It's the best he could too.
No, he's massive, you know, and you know, when you talk about stability, for me, you know, him and Jonah are now into our third year together, and so he gets it, and you know, helping out, you know, KG and Tanner along the way with, you know, what we want to do defensively, but again, like I touched on before, he spent the entire off-season here. I remember when I was an assistant earlier on in my career, and guys used to just stay back and work out, and that's for a large part what my job was in the off-season, was just to do that player development, and it was a great, you know, moment for me just to learn as a coach, you know, things that work and what transfers over, and then watching Waterberg do it with my assistant coaches and log the hours and days, and he was doing 2 days, like he was working out and then he would go lift and then he came back in the afternoon and shot by himself on the shooting machine. He's seen the results, and we just want to keep riding that momentum with him because he's been fantastic in so many areas.
And you're starting to get closer to full strength now as well. You get Jackson back for next week, and Tara must be getting closer every week as well.
Yeah, you know, and again, the experience I have, you know, if I refer to last season too, when we had guys in and out, is you know, integrating back to what we want to have as our identity. You know, having guys sort of manage that ball handling load in Rob and P the last couple of weeks, and now we get to move them back to their natural positions. And the cool thing is you know, we planned for that, we're prepared for that. You know, we've already started incorporating it, especially when Kyle's in and they can see the results and the difference, how their game opens up so much more to play to their strengths. So, you know, the transition, obviously there'll be a learning curve to it, having both those guys back in sooner than later. But the transition shouldn't take too long, I hope.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Big day for Queensland sport. Do you know who won that AFL Grand Final, or have you not had a chance to
Brizzy, right? I think Brisbane won.
Yeah.
I think it was over.
How much did they win by? They were up a lot.
100 or
10 goals.
Yeah, damn.
It's the last 3 grand finals have been shocking.
Yeah, right. Well,
Blowouts.
My Eagles don't even get off the bottom of the ladder, so I haven't watched the AFL in a while. I'm a Cowboys man now.
All right, thanks everyone.
Beautiful, thank you.
Thank you.